Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and this time I'm going to look at the Netflix show Singles Inferno Season 3, in particular the much talked about character Mr. Gwan Hee with his 3 love interests. And in this video, I'm going to analyze and discuss how he manages to attract and manipulate half the women on the show, summarizing and pinpointing his behavior into certain techniques or psychological strategies so that our eyes are wider open as to what he's been doing, whether intentionally or not. Singles Inferno is a hit Korean dating show where a group of really good-looking singles are trapped camping on an island called Inferno. And the goal is to match up with someone in the finale and leave the island no longer single. Throughout the show, every episode, there are opportunities for the men and women to select a date and spend an evening together at a luxury hotel they call Paradise. So first, the usual disclaimers. I understand it's an edited show, and I'm only able to interpret the English dubbed version of this show, not the original Korean. So sometimes I needed to make reference to the commentator's reaction in case there was anything lost in translation. I also don't claim to know these people fully, and I also believe that people can grow and change. From the very start, Gwan Hee comes off very arrogant. He comes in very strong and full of bravado.
As for my charms, it's Gwan Hee, Gwan Hee, and Gwan Hee. That about sums it up.
And it's important to remember that arrogance and bravado is always born out of some sort of insecurity. It's an overcompensation.
The hero always enters last, so that was expected. I knew I'd be the last to walk in. I'm not worried about any of the guys here. I'll come in first. It's pretty much a given.
Truly self-secure people who are truly confident, don't need to make sure that everyone else knows how great they are. So the first thing I noticed him doing very early on is that he sets himself up as the judge. How he does this is by constantly throwing out statements of judgment on you and speaking as if everything is down to his choice and his judgment alone.
We don't need to drag this out. We're not compatible.
He speaks like everything you do is to please or displease him.
I love the color of your bag, by the way. I love pastel colors like that. Yeah, I'm guessing you did some research on me before this.
Nah, I just did what I do.
You researched, right?
He also speaks like he's the one assessing you and giving you a score.
And when he came out, he said that he was granting me a point for taking the initiative to approach him. He actually said that.
Basically, everything is down to him and what he judges, that he is the ultimate decision maker.
So I...
Thought you wouldn't make the cut?
No, not that I wouldn't make the cut, but that you wouldn't.
Oh, please.
He's the one that chooses you and not the other way around.
That's right.
It was because you made the first move. By doing that, you gave me a reason to choose you, the way I look at it.
And this is done quite insidiously, but evidently when it's repeatedly reinforced and the person goes along with it, it's very effective at establishing a hierarchy where he is superior to you.
The reason I can't decide on this in just 1 or 2 days is because one goes and another fills her place. So following that process, I end up whittling down my choices to end up with an answer.
Well, let me help you whittle.
Suddenly, you're trained and manipulated to thinking that you have to convince him to like you, that you have to please him.
What do you think your strong suits are compared to the other women here?
Well, I think I'm unmatched in terms of my figure and my proportions.
Personality type-wise, I think any type can learn to speak this way for many different reasons. For example, to have more influence on people, to sound more authoritative. But types that speak like this kind of on autopilot naturally are people with cognitive functions FI, introverted feeling, and TE, extraverted thinking. These functions come as a pair. You have one, you have the other. And FI is my feelings, my values, my personal opinion. And TE is about standards and categorizing, ranking, and judging according to those standards. I think Gwan Hee has these functions in the middle of his functional stack. So this means that he'll probably fluctuate a lot between his own personal feelings and opinion, FI, versus how everyone else would rank and judge him, TE. And I point out this correlation with personality type because sometimes we don't realize how we naturally speak and what effect it may have on other people. Gwan Hee also knows how to up his own value by painting himself as somewhat exclusive, someone who doesn't open up to anybody.
I always have my guard up when I'm meeting new people. So with people I develop feelings for, getting things off the ground was always a bit hard.
Someone who is mysterious and hard to get.
To get to know me this well,
I'm the only one?
you'd have to have known me for
Oh, really?
years probably, before I'd have revealed all this.
He also lets the woman know how popular he is and how they must compete for him.
I found myself in paradise right away on both my first and second days, and I didn't have much of an appetite, you know?
Establishing himself as the most desirable, most popular, the alpha of the pack.
He kept saying he was sure he'd get picked by at least 1 or 2 people, no matter what. He implied he'd go with the person who came on to him strongest.
He made it sound like a challenge to me.
The main manipulative move Gwan Hee makes to all 3 women is that he majorly negs them from the start.
Is my face puffy? It's puffy, isn't it? It's not?
It's the same.
I see.
It was puffy yesterday too, so...
Oh, really?
Wow.
Negging is a seduction technique where you deliberately put down someone that you're interested in, aiming to chip away at their confidence in themselves so that they become more receptive to your advances. And Gwan Hee does this all the time when guessing the girls' age by overestimating how old he thinks they are.
What's your
27. 27.
No.
26? You're 26?
The context being that this is South Korea, this is Asia, where misogynistically, women are generally considered past their prime by the age of 29.
Stop messing. Do I seriously look 31?
Well, you can't be in your 20s.
Me?
Yeah.
I am in my 20s. Are you for real?
Okay, let's see your ID.
I'm not lying.
And knowing this general insecurity among Korean women, Gwan Hee uses it to undermine their self-esteem.
27? Yes? 27? But you can't be any younger than that. Are you?
That's what I get for going for a more mature look with my makeup today.
Blowing hot and cold is another classic player tactic that Gwan Hee does. He constantly alternates between showing approval and affection versus insulting you and expressing indifference. The hot lures you in at first, leads you on and gives you hope.
Did you know you'd be coming here with me?
I'd say about a minute into our ride.
You mean as soon as we met?
Yeah.
The cold keeps you guessing and keeps you on your toes.
I want to spend more time with the woman I met yesterday.
Fine. Go to her. Go ahead.
Oh, she's not here.
Oh.
The cold also knocks down your confidence.
Have any questions for me?
No, not really.
You
I
don't?
have a pretty good idea of how old you are.
No questions. So that he can return with the hot again to build you back up.
My type is someone like you, I guess.
She's getting her hopes up. It's happening again.
Gwan Hee also is a major hypocrite and has a lot of double standards, where the same behavior is judged harshly if the girl does it, but judged kindly if he does the same.
So after being with Mingyu, you came out and the moment you laid eyes on me, you started thinking of coming to paradise with me? That feels a bit wrong.
As if that doesn't apply to you.
Well, no. I don't think our cases are the same.
A common example is that when on a date, Gwan Hee's allowed to talk bluntly about his interest in other women in front of the date.
There is one woman that I'd like to chat more with. There's one.
Who?
There's a woman named Gyuri that I haven't had a chance to talk to her at all yet.
But the women aren't allowed to express their interest in other guys without Gwan Hee acting all jealous and passive-aggressive.
So if both Mingyu and I were waiting down outside the lobby in our cars, whose car do you get in?
I can't tell you that. That takes the fun out of this.
Just drink.
What? So you don't want to hear
Better
my
if you just
answer?
drink. I don't feel like hearing it now. It's too late now.
How come?
Love is all about timing. So that brief little pause,
Again, over time, if this kind of behavior is tolerated and not questioned, you're accepting his double standards. And firstly, this tells him that your boundaries can be easily pushed. And secondly, he's training you to accept a very unfair dynamic, a very unequal relationship where he's on top and only his feelings and his needs matter.
It upset you.
It did. I'm displeased that you went there with Wanik.
I do think I was wrong about the whole thing all along. You could say I got too relaxed, because I knew I wasn't ever going to change my mind, which is good, but
It's a relationship where you've let go of all your boundaries for him, where you offer him everything and he is not required to reciprocate.
I think I've done enough. But you still want more. You said you'd take further steps. That's not true. You expect me to take further steps.
I'm telling you that's not the
Well,
case.
that's how you've been acting, and that's how you made me feel.
Personally, what annoyed me most about Gwan Hee is his constant need to test the girls.
Then what do you think my strong suits are?
you're good looking.
What, you think the others are ugly or something?
Super ugly.
He needs them to repeatedly prove to him how much they like him.
If you get to go on a one-on-one date tomorrow, who would you want to talk to?
I don't think I'll want to talk to anyone.
Then you don't have anyone else besides me?
This incessant need for reassurance reflects his own insecurity.
If you were drawn to me, what do you think the reason would be?
If man strikes again,
But the constant testing reflects his own selfishness and immaturity.
You came here with Wanik, but you didn't want to come with him again? If you could turn back time, which moment here would you return to?
I think he asked me that expecting me to pick the day I went to paradise with Gwan Hee.
He corners the other person to be vulnerable and lay out their feelings on the table, only for him to not reciprocate at all and not take into account moments later.
I already cleared up that misunderstanding. To me, it seems like you're thinking, she said she'd pick me no matter what, so I'll provoke her one more time. That's how you sound right now.
If I told you up front right now that I liked you a lot, then would you go, all right, I'll just focus on you from now on? I know you wouldn't.
In personality type, this is what I call a black hole for FE, extroverted feeling. FE is the function that responds to others emotionally. It mirrors people in terms of their feelings and values. Gwan Hee has very immature FI, introverted feeling, and he's asking others to reflect his own arrogance and self-importance back at him constantly. It's as if he's saying, FE me, make me feel good. But it's never enough.
Oh, if you just said something like, I feel like going with the guy I'm with right now, that would have been nice. Well,
So what, I was supposed to say all that without missing a beat?
A huge part of why Gwan Hee can't decide which girl
Are you done gathering your thoughts, or are you still not there yet?
I'm not there yet.
aside from just being greedy and having a really short attention span, is because he has actually very contradicting needs and desires that are near impossible to meet in one person. For example, he wants to take the lead in a relationship,
I like to take the lead in the relationship.
but he also wants the woman to be mega forward,
That's what I'm thinking right now.
I had no second choice.
someone who takes initiative and makes the first move on him.
Are you done talking to Min Ji?
Nope, we're both waiting to see who moves first.
Really?
But he also wants a woman who knows when to stop doing that, be docile, and give him the reins when he's ready.
I thought you'd be into strong, independent women.
What I'm into is girls with big eyes who know how to be cute.
Another example is he wants a woman who is very reassuring and very expressive of her love for him and admiration for him.
Hajung tried to avoid answering when I asked her what she liked about me.
피했잖아요. 근데 오히려
But Hye Seon gave me a straight answer when I asked her the same question.
나한테는 조금
And she also seemed a bit more open to expressing her affection for me.
그 느낌에 확
And it was that kind of attitude that made me appreciate Hye Seon more.
But not so much that he feels there's no challenge and it's too easy, because he still wants to feel like he's beat other men in order to win you over.
Thing with men like Gwan Hee is you can't cling to them too much. You can't just completely open up to them because they'll find it boring.
absolutely.
But you can't play too hard to get either. Nope, because they don't like that either.
The truth is, I don't feel that Gwan Hee is genuinely interested in any of the three girls. The women are merely objects to feed his ego.
I have 3 women I'm attracted to right now. That one, and that one.
Who,
That one, that one.
Those two, they all have names, you know.
He showed zero interest in getting to know them and asking questions about them when he had the chance to.
You want to know what I'm thinking?
Well, I'm actually not that curious about your job and age.
그냥
All he was interested in doing is cornering these women to sing him praises and using them to assess how he compares with the other men.
Are you the type that only goes for handsome guys?
No, to be honest, my number one priority is
In
height.
terms of height, I'm the tallest one out there. I am the tallest one. Yeah?
Gwan Hee is also a bit of a bully, I guess, because he does punish you if things don't go his way. For example, he punishes you for making him feel bad, like how he rejects Hajung ultimately because she called him out on his bad behavior.
I think I might have said some hurtful things to you, and that bugged me. So I wanted to tell you I'm sorry.
Now that we talked about it, I think we can go ahead as if whatever all that was never happened. And that's how I'll treat you from now on.
Gwan Hee was telling Hajung, I no longer care what you do to me from now on. That's what you are to me now.
He also punishes you for being disobedient, for having your own mind and not doing what he told you to do. For example, when he tried to control which guy Min Ji should choose instead of him to go for Paradise Date because he himself won't be available.
But if I do end up getting picked and going ahead of you, who will you go with?
I don't want to go with any of them.
Still, you do need a contingency plan for those what-if situations.
Mingyu and Jinsuk.
He told her to choose his buddy Jin-suk because that's the guy he trusted more, and not to choose Min-kyu, who Gwan Hee I think is threatened by because he's equally tall.
I think Jin-suk might be a good choice.
Why?
He's the kind of guy who would honestly tell me about his feelings for you and what you guys were up to while you were there.
Oh, so it's because you need to be in on everything I do while
no.
I'm there?
But in the end, Min-ji chose Min-kyu against his wishes because she never had feelings for Min-kyu, whereas she used to have interest in Jin-suk.
I feel like me and Mingyu would have a really chill time, though. I don't particularly care about him, and it's like that for him, too. I told you, we barely talked.
Well, I think it would still bother me.
Choosing someone she's never had feelings for and doesn't care for was her way to show Gwan Hee her devotion, but it backfired and resulted in the infamous helicopter scene. Lastly, Gwan Hee has a habit of gaslighting in order to avoid and shift blame. The reality is that he's the one who's constantly changing his mind and having second thoughts, who is consistently greedy, promiscuous, and non-committal.
I'm 33% invested in Gyuri, 33% in Hajung, and 33% in Hye Seon. As for the remaining 1%, I'll leave that open to other options.
But he always shifts the blame onto the girl, blaming them for not showing enough interest.
I was wondering, is Min Ji really interested in me?
But I'm pretty upset that you'd be unsure about my feelings for you. I told you in my note there was no second choice for me.
Blaming them for putting doubts in his head.
The way you've been treating me and talking to me was so different from how you acted in Paradise. It made me question whether or not the you in Paradise was the real you. Or is the you right now the real you?
This is the real me.
Hajung's being totally real right now.
She's about as transparent as it gets.
Exactly.
In the end, Gwan Hee finally chooses Hye Seon because she was the best at accommodating and managing his ego, his fickleness, and his immaturity. She knows how to look after him and make him feel cared for.
All the little things I noticed later when we were eating, Made me realize you were actually looking out for me and that you're a really considerate person.
She knows how to flatter him and rub his ego.
There wasn't anyone left I wanted to go to paradise with.
아 진짜로?
Really?
No.
But she also keeps things interesting by playing a little hard to get, leaving things a bit ambiguous and matching his level of non-commitment.
I still find you the most attractive of all.
Me?
But as I told you in the hot tub that first day when we were in paradise, I think you need to get to know everyone else. It's the same for me. Although I find you attractive, I'm still intrigued by some others.
She walks that fine line really well. Her ability to accommodate him can be explained by their personality types, where she has the opposite function FE extroverted feeling hero, meaning that she'll naturally know how to respond to him emotionally and accommodate to his values. And she also overall has all his complementary opposite functions at the right levels, which in theory makes them very compatible as well as having high chemistry. Whereas with the other two girls, Jeong and Min Ji, they actually share the same exact functions as Gwan Hee, which in theory creates camaraderie because you recognize how similar you are, but not necessarily sustained chemistry. In particular, all three of them have dominant FI introverted feeling function, and what Gwan Hee is constantly looking for is FE extroverted feeling. He doesn't want his partner to have their own feelings, their own needs, their own mind. He just wants someone to mirror him and cater to him.
But aren't you also curious about what I think?
Nope, I'm the most curious about my own thoughts.
Jeong and Min Ji's infatuation towards him, though, I think it's more a result of all the manipulation as we've discussed. But in particular with Jeong, I think it's also because she sees how alike they are beneath the surface.
I made you that mad, huh?
I think I get mad at you because we're alike, you know?
As for Min Ji's infatuation with him, I just felt she wasn't initially interested in him at all. And then she started gunning for him suddenly only after hearing about him from other people, which would include how popular he is, and also after learning what his job and age are. I feel it's infatuation based on other external factors like how much older he is than her, that he's a pro basketball player, or it's her love of drama and her desire to tame the most popular guy there, the alpha, in order to validate her own worth.
Strangely, I think my feelings for him grew even deeper because he went with Hye Seon. You could say it confirmed my feelings for him. Somehow seeing a guy you like spend time with another woman can make you reflect on your own feelings and reaffirm them, right?
Although my overall analysis of Gwan Hee has been quite negative, there is hope in the end when he showed signs of self-reflection after witnessing all three girls being hurt by him.
Everyone I had a deep, meaningful conversation with either gets mad at me or breaks down in tears. So my biggest takeaway from that was that it's all my fault.
In particular, I think Gwan Hee cried in response to Hye Seon crying.
I just want to thank everyone. And I'm so grateful for these bonds we forged and for spending time with you all.
Oh.
Are you crying?
Because he realized that he'll be going back to his usual grueling and lonely life as a pro basketball player, training 24/7 and having no time for any relationships.
So, training as a professional athlete has always been a grueling experience for me. I go back into training starting next week, and I'll be jumping straight into hardcore training. But I'll have the memories of the great times here.
And in that moment, he realized what a great connection he had with Hye Seon all this time, and that he had been messing about with a really good thing.
So the last thing I'd like to say to you is that you're the kindest person out of all the people I've met here. With you, I think a lot more than with Min Ji. I feel bad for what I've done to you.
In summary, I think his insecurities and his need for extra love and attention made him resort to bravado, manipulation, and putting the girls down, When in reality, he probably didn't need to do any of that for the girls to like him. He could have just behaved more securely and presented himself more authentically. I hope you found it helpful and interesting. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. If you would like us to figure out your personality type and to analyze your relationship dynamics and decision making, then please find booking details in the description box below.